Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Spot Real Talk. My name is Tiara.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ron.
And today we are back to talk about SnowFall. This is season 6, episode 7, and it was titled Charnel House. So before we get started with the discussion, please make sure you guys click that subscribe button, the notification bell, and the like button. All of those things helps us out and helps our channel to grow. So we appreciate your support so far. Keep the likes and the love coming. So now jumping into SnowFall. Sad episode, very sad. Obviously everybody is dealing with the aftermath of Jerome's death. Some people just being filled in for the first time, that Jerome has died. And Louie is, obviously to be expected. She's struggling with his death. And even at one point she mentioned that she keeps forgetting he's dead. So I was like, dang, as much as Louie gets on my nerves, I feel bad for her.
But you know what though? When a person struggles as much as she is, it's because intuitively they know that they had some part in it.
Mm-hmm.
Had because death is imminent to all of us. But when it's like when you don't treat your parents right and they die, and it hurts you more. So you lash out on the people that are alive, and this is what she's going through.
Yeah.
She won't admit it, but he'd be still alive had she simply did what he asked her to do.
Yeah, saw those shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
And got no more of those. He's dead.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is this, I felt bad for losing Jerome. The part that annoyed me was when she said to Cissy, well, I lost my husband.
Oh,
You're
man.
talking to Cissy who lost her husband too.
And
her brother.
Yeah.
And talk about
it. And so I was just like, wait a minute, read the room, sis. Read the room.
Yeah.
I was like, But she said, but you still have something to live for, meaning that she still had Franklin. And then just a constant blaming of Franklin for all of this. And I was like, and I know sometimes when people grieve, sometimes they are not in their right mind, and they're nonsensical sometimes, and they gotta put the blame on somebody. And Franklin's part of the blame, but sis, you sided with the plug over family. You sided with the plug. You went behind their back and put the hit on Kane.
Right.
So I was saying she needs to be accountable.
Yeah, that's one thing she has not been yet. It's crazy. Just watching her, even as she's going to talk to Scully, I was like, that's an unlikely person that I would think she would go and talk to, but it makes sense because he's already dealt with so much loss and seems to have found some peace in the situation. And I really loved his response to her. And he was like, I don't want to do something basically that would put me at odds, because in Scully's mind, they're still with him.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, he wants to preserve their memory and how he was with them and not turn into somebody who he wasn't.
And it also affirms my initial point. Scully wasn't necessarily as responsible for their death as she was responsible to Jerome's death. Everything she did just marked him. And another thing, when you're in the business, you expect to die. Nobody goes through that business expecting to live to be 100 years old. So at some point it's going to catch up with you. And if you don't know it, at least you can assume that. But I think her visceral response is based on the fact that her subconscious knows that she had as much to do with his death, if not more, than Franklin did.
Yeah, absolutely. She had the opportunity to stop it.
She sure
absolutely
did.
Franklin tried to bow out gracefully. We saw it last season. He met with Teddy. He was like planning his exit.
Yeah.
Nobody would have been there. Look, Teddy's dad would have been dead. Look, all of this stuff. Like Franklin would have been living his best life.
Right.
Getting ready for the baby with his 73 mil.
Exactly.
Teddy crossed the line, Louie crossed the line, and you forced his hand, and y'all forced him over to the dark side.
Exactly.
You said that you the devil? Yes, I am.
Right.
Yeah. I deal with those consequences.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so now Teddy has found out that Jerome is dead, obviously too. So I mean, I think Teddy is looking at Franklin like, dang, you killed my father, and I think he believes that that
Yeah.
Franklin killed Jerome too because of how
Well,
Louis
Louis said it
worded
was
it.
his fault.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, Louis
He said it
worded
was
it and suggested that Franklin was directly responsible for Jerome's death. So now in Teddy's mind, he's like, whoa, Franklin has killed my father, and now he's killing his own uncle.
I bet
And
he's
he's off the
pissing in his
deep end.
he's
He
pissing in
probably
his
Yes.
like
pants now.
he moved
That's what he's doing because he's at if he can kill his own uncle.
family. Like
Yeah,
he is.
family.
Like he has no cut cards. That
No
he's
Yep.
cut
old.
cards.
He's not a kid anymore. And the thing is, you heard Julia. Julia was like, give him his money back. Like
Yes.
you
Yeah.
playing, you putting my child's risk over your father who was a tyrant and everything.
Yep.
He was like, no, you want my son to die? Give Franklin his money back. And I was like, Julia, the smartest person in the room right now.
And Julia's
Yeah.
pregnant too. She's looking out for the life for herself and her
Exactly.
unborn child. So she's like, I ain't got time to play with you.
I mean,
Give
Right.
this man his money.
she rolled
And-
up in there very pregnant. And
Mhm.
and again, she's pointing out where all this culminated. You took this man's money and you expected him to do what?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Carissa even echoed the same thing. She's like, she has a point. So, and Julia even said, like, if you don't do something, I'm going to do it. And she mentioned a public execution. I was like, oh, she about to air him out.
Oh, I'm telling you. I was like, listen here, Teddy. All because you trying to be a Captain America Bama.
Mhm.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah, so it's a lot on the line for everybody. Even you seen Teddy's boss going and talking to his management and worried about it now. I'm putting his leadership on the hands list for letting that N-word fly.
Oh yeah.
With the hard ER. With the hard
right.
ER.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
he gets the hands for that.
Yeah, he certainly does. But
That
you know
was
what?
the
I thought Julia might get shot. Yeah, when she really threatened Teddy about going public, I'm like, don't turn your back on him, please. Put a bullet in him. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like to think that he wouldn't because that's his child's mother, but he seemed like he already put this mission ahead of his family before. So I'm like, so clearly he don't care that much.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so with Gustavo, now because Gustavo had Ruben pop up on him this week. So I'm like, dang, this is pop-ups. Everybody doing pop-ups. And so basically Gustavo is being asked to help frame Teddy. Like they still want to raid that warehouse. But Gustavo actually negotiated just like he did with Franklin. He asked for a way out. He asked for money and a passport, documents. So he kind of essentially asked Ruben for the same thing, which makes me believe that, probably rightfully so, Gustavo doesn't trust too many people. He like, let me make sure I got a backup plan in case Franklin don't come through.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Tim.
Now, I was going to say, you had said last week about the description about his time running out. And so I was expecting Oso to die. That's what it sounded like. But apparently his time ran out with his family because Zeramara said, me and the kids, I think it's time for us to bounce.
Yeah.
And you not know where we go.
Right.
So,
and I mean, she's probably right because it's getting so dangerous. And Gustavo mentioned to Franklin, the DA busted him. So he got that going on. He got Ruben in his ear. He got Teddy in his ear. All of this stuff is going on. And Franklin is demanding that he give up Teddy. So it's like he got pressure coming from every person in his life. And I'm not mad at Gustavo for kind of trying to put things in place. No matter who he has to kind of betray it, he got to look after himself at some point.
I couldn't trust no Russian.
Ruben?
KGB
now.
KGB.
I don't trust none of them government folks.
Exactly.
None of them.
Right.
Tony,
No,
Teddy,
true.
Ruben.
Yeah. Well, Gustavo did say that Tony doesn't have any photographs of Franklin. So Franklin might be in the clear a little bit. But either way, it's still, a thorn in their side. It's another problem that they have to deal with. And so, Franklin was kind of saying like, we're gonna have to come at Teddy in a smart way, and Oso's like, look, he gonna smell a trap. So Franklin is saying like, well, if we make it seem, like it's intentional, then maybe we can get away with it. So I'm trying to see how they gonna set this situation up.
I thought about that because, when Franklin went to talk to Louie and said, about Teddy, and Teddy has already said to Louie that he wants Franklin. And Franklin has now come to Louie and said, set it up to meet with Teddy. And then I saw the previews for next week, and it looked like Franklin was tied up and gagged. And I don't know. People were like, oh, this looks like this is, whatever for Franklin. I think it's a setup. I think it's a trap. I think it's a trap. I think he's trying to set Teddy up.
And I think Louie is going to be a very integral part of that, because I think Louie is going to, because she asked him at the end of the episode, like, why did you come and save me? And Franklin told her, he was like, I really couldn't live with myself if I let Kane, do what he was going to do to you. And, Louie called him the devil or whatever. But I do think that the fact that she asked that question means that she does, at least appreciate, she's starting to reason correctly. She appreciates the fact that he did indeed save her life, because he could have just left her for dead, for real.
He really could have. And how does she think that Jerome found her?
Exactly. So I think she's starting to put 2 and 2 together now, and she's like, okay, he really did do a solid for me. So I think she's going to return the favor next week when she goes back to Teddy and pretends like she's out to get Franklin.
I started to say exactly that. I said, it's time for that table to turn, and we give Louie one of the few times, what do you call it? The game, the game.
We'll see next week.
I was about to say, I'm still
hold on.
I'm not predicting. I'm just, but I when I saw it too, I mean, we know Franklin's not going to die at that point. And I guess it would be apropos, because really one thing Louie did understand is that Teddy is as responsible as well. And, and Teddy wanted to meet at a certain time, and she said, you're going to meet at my time.
Right.
You're not going to tell me when to meet. So she's really, kind of tired of this white boy, and she's trying to push back from him. So I could see it happening. I can't wait till next week, though. I can't wait to see the show, because I'm on the edge of my seat trying to figure out who this is.
I was really shocked that Teddy didn't show up to the funeral, because that would have been prime opportunity. I know it would have been risky.
Yeah. Well, not only
Teddy
that,
really wanted to get Franklin and catch him off guard.
Yeah, but there's still, as the old term says, there's honor among thieves. And I think that, even as bad as you can be, as crooked as you can be, you just don't go showing up. Well, I take that back.
Teddy, yes.
I was thinking of some of us, we've gone to some funerals and shot up the place, but in most instances, it's honor among thieves. They don't, they let the dead rest in peace. So
well, that's what Louie asked. He was like, give me tomorrow, and then the day after that we can do whatever. But
exactly,
I'm putting my husband in the ground tomorrow.
Right. Exactly.
Speaking of that funeral, I seen that everybody came together, put on their Sunday best. Everybody was looking good. Couple of cameos. Nico Anand was in there. Chris Lofton. I was like, okay, so they bringing like all the people in that previously appeared in the show. And I was thinking too about Buckley being there, and Louie confronted Buckley. And so I was like, oh, Buckley might be getting ready to go, because I think Louie's on to him. She was like, oh, so Jerome didn't pay you? No,
exactly.
Well, he did.
Yeah.
And he was sky high when Jerome tried to reach him.
Sure was. So I think his days might be numbered as well. And then Wanda and Leon, they have been interesting too, because Wanda actually told Leon earlier in the episode that she was moving out of the projects. And she was like, if I had it my way, we will be going back to Ghana, but I'm not going to leave you behind. I'm just going to move out and do my own thing. And she even got offered the opportunity by Cissy to take over the shelter.
What did you think about that with Cissy, though? Because that, to me, Yeah, it was like she's ready to go, and
Yes,
she was.
She thought to set it off.
Yeah, okay,
listen, I think she's prepared for anything, and I think she's prepared that she might not make it out. Didn't it seem that way to you? Because I'm like, okay,
it was like a prelude to I'm not going to be here much longer, so I need
exactly,
somebody to
exactly.
run the facility. So yeah, that's how I felt about it.
I did too. I did too. I was like, oh, okay, Sissy's like, oh.
And the fact that social media has been buzzing because they have dropped the announcement that there will be a spinoff based around Wanda's character, headed by Gail Bean. So I guess that lets us know who's not going to die in this situation.
Right. Yeah, that's what I said. Unless it's going to be a prequel.
Did they say anything about the spinoff? Did they give any information about it?
No, they said it's there in talks that I think it's been green lighted. She's rumored to star and stuff.
Right.
That's gonna be real interesting. Yeah, that'll be real interesting. I'd love to see that. And
so this makes me think Leon.
Yes, that's what I said. But if we're sticking to the story of who we think this is about, the real Leon did not die. He went to jail.
Well, maybe that's the case. I hope that's the case. I'll take that over death for him.
Right.
Because Leon was like, well, I just got to get some stuff set up and put in place, and then I'll try to make my exit. But Wanda's like, I wish I could believe that was going to happen.
Yeah, you don't have time for this.
Well, we've been here before. You said this before. We've been here before, and look where we are. You're still singing the same old song.
Yep.
And, and so she's right. I thought she may actually move farther away, not just out the house. And it may be to her benefit that she does, but it's just as I said earlier, the whole episode was just sad to me. I was looking for a break and I never got one. The whole thing was sad. And then with Cissy, with Cissy making a comment, I just got even sadder. I'm like, okay, Cissy, what
I liked how she asked, she was concerned with whether Jerome suffered or not. So, I think she can. It's a little bit more comforting to her the fact that he went out like immediately and he didn't have to suffer in agony.
Yeah,
that is a comfort.
It was so realistic, though. I mean, just everything about the episode was as played as you would expect it to be.
I alluded to it when I said that Franklin said that I'm the devil and stuff. The turn, you can see the turning point when he was having a conversation with Leon, because he said, I'm sad, my uncle died, and I loved him, and then he said, but he should have never broke away from the family. When he said that, so matter of fact, and even Leon looked like,
I was about to say,
I said that to me, I was like, oh, cold-hearted, black-hearted. I was like,
yeah, but you know what got me? You know what got me? The pretty much the beginning of the episode when Franklin had that dream and he woke up in such a panic that he couldn't even breathe. You would think at that point, you kind of like come to terms with Jesus and say, okay, thank you, Lord, for that prequel to what's going to happen to my life if I continue where I'm headed. I mean, he was literally just taken out.
I think it shocked me too, because she was
she didn't know what to do with him. I mean, he's on the floor, and even after grabbing him and telling him he's okay, he still fought with it. So it's interesting that he would continue on that dark side, or actually progress to the dark side as we went on in the episode. He got just I don't know. I don't know.
I think Franklin definitely has a plan though, because he did ask Leon for $500K. He was like, I don't know if I can pay you back, but he was like, this is what it's gonna cost for freedom.
Yeah, I like the way he put it. He said, he said, what's my credit?
What's the $500K for? What do y'all think?
Well, I thought that part of that was the money to give to Gustavo, because Gustavo needed $1 million. Instead of he had 10 million to give him, and he said, I can get you $1 million. So I was like, that and the paperwork he was working on helping Gustavo get and his family out of Dodge.
But you know what? Another thing I was thinking of is he's pretty much can kiss that money goodbye, because for one thing, if he kills Teddy, he's definitely not going to get it.
Right.
And Teddy, I don't know if Teddy actually is controlling the money or not. But if you kill him, he's definitely not going to give you the money back. He can't. So I mean, he's kind of between a rock and a hard place. He has to kill him now, because if he doesn't, Teddy's going to kill him. So, you know, what do you do at some point? How do you get your money? Do you
Julia?
I was about to say,
Julia is a government op too.
Mhm.
She's in the same business, and she's also Teddy's wife and a mother his child. That is leverage.
She would know all the secrets, all the passwords.
He is, and the fact that she already said to him, like, you better do it or it's gonna be a public. I think Julia is the way.
I like that.
If Teddy don't do anything, I mean, to Julia and stuff, and if Franklin can get to her first,
yeah, and
Julia is the way.
I like that idea.
Kind of doubtful of Carissa too, because you know when she was talking about the money, he was like, basically like, "Oh, is that what you care about?"
Yeah, he better be doubtful for her. I'm side eyeing
about Carissa. Do you think she's?
No, I'm side eyeing her. If I slept next to her, one eye would be open, and that'd be the eye that's closest to her. I mean,
she said she want to be involved. She said, "I don't want to just be sitting here
on the sidelines."
I don't believe one iota. I think if she had a chance to bounce, she would. And if she got, and then to ask him, well, what were you going to do? Give me half the money, half of 73 million back in that day? You wouldn't need half of the money. I mean,
back in this day, I wouldn't give her half the money.
But I think she's trying to pour some of that kryptonite on when she's like, "Oh, you have the keys to my lock."
Exactly.
And all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if she really means it though.
No, she doesn't. That's right. No. She's pouring it on.
And I don't think Teddy believes it.
I think Teddy is whipped though.
I don't know, but he seems open though. He does. Like
he's open, but he's very cautious too. I think he side-eyes a lot.
Yeah, he is very cautious. I think he's cautious of everybody. I don't think there's many people that Teddy trusts, period.
Right.
He's just confused. I think Teddy is he's got to come in all cycles and all different ways. I think now
it's his fault.
It is. He wants to believe her, and I think he wants to love her and have all the things that he didn't have with his wife, although he did have those things, but he's the one that left it.
Yeah, she told the wife, said, let's walk away. We have a good life. We have a child. And he chose to be Captain America.
Yeah, exactly. So it was a lot this episode. I am so looking forward to next week. The last thing I wanted to mention about this episode was at the end of the funeral, Big D approached Leon, and he was like, "You gonna get the guys that killed Jerome." And it seems like Big D kind of wants more of a response, because I'm like, last time I checked, Jerome got the guy that killed him. They shot each other. So who else is there to really go?
No, he asked him, did y'all slide? Did y'all get him?
No, right. Did you get the people that got shot?
Is it handled? Because he was,
but it seemed to me like that was enough to make peace between them. Hopefully.
Yes,
because I'm still worried for Leon after
absolutely.
He gave Big D.
Yeah, I you know what though? Bullies always, when you give them that nice clean beat down, they kind of come to terms. And I think Big D came to terms with that. And terms in the sense that, look, I ain't messing with no punk. And and how much smoke do I really want to give if I'm not willing to get as much back?
That part, because I think the death of a close friend has a way of making you realize, like, okay, that petty nonsense we was doing, it ain't even worth it.
Right.
Yeah. He was like, look, we need to slide? What we need to do? What we doing?
Exactly.
Yeah, so good episode. It definitely is setting us up for the remaining episodes though. I think we had to get through this portion of it, because if they would have just hopped from Jerome's death into whatever's coming next without the grief process, it wouldn't have seemed organic to me. They needed this episode to really process everybody's emotions and grief and whatnot. So I did enjoy this one though. A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. So
I wanted to say the next episode is episode 8, right? Yeah. Amin Joseph, aka Uncle Jerome, is directing that episode.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that.
I like it.
Yes. It should be very good. So
It
I'm
should
glad
be.
that he's still involved in the show some kind of way.
Maybe since he's directing it, Louie's gonna get her comeuppance in some other way too. So hey,
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So we gave the boss man, the white guy that's using the N-word, the hands. Anybody else for the hands
Absolutely,
list?
the hands.
Well, Big D used it, but of course, I guess because he's in the Brotherhood. I guess we can excuse him.
He used the A at the end.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He's an A and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old dude used the ER, the hard ER at the end. There's a difference. There's a difference.
Because they don't know how to say it they don't know how to say it in the first place.
Well, he ain't mean it in the way that Big D said it. The A at the end is affectionate. We shouldn't use it either. But the A at the end is more of a term than the ER, the hard ER. There's a difference.
Yeah, I don't have too many other people to nominate for the hands list. I think the game ball. What do y'all think about the game ball?
Julia.
Yes.
Okay.
Julia pressing Teddy. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I'm down with that. One other thing I thought was funny this episode was when Scully came to the funeral and Einstein and the pastor was looking at each other like, so this dude. Because Scully always be on some weird stuff at the function. He already drugged everybody at the wedding. I was like, don't let this be a repeat of that at the funeral.
I don't know what Scully is taking, but man.
I must be taking like LSD and stuff.
Whatever it is,
it was LSD.
He is on.
That must be how he coping with that grief.
I mean, to tell you, he probably sees his family next to him, not just realize, not just
that and the spirituality, because he's become really spiritual.
Yeah. So this was a great episode. We want to thank everyone for watching. Please drop down in the comment section and give us your thoughts on this episode, as well as predictions for the remainder of the season. Also make sure you follow us on our social media. We are at The Spot Real Talk on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. Keep up with us, and we'll have some great stuff coming. If you are not aware, we already have interviewed with the young lady that plays she played Black Diamond on SnowFall, and she also played Mabel on BMF. So we have an interviews tab. You're going to want to check that interview tab out immediately, because there's a bunch of great content in there. So please make sure you do that. You will not be disappointed.
Yep, that was Christine Horn. And the cameos that we spoke of, Nico, Anon,
Chris Lofton.
Chris Lofton. We've interviewed them. Nico, Anon, aka Uncle Clifford, P Valley, Chris Lofton, Power Force,
Yep, we got interviewed.
Aunt Louie. We interviewed her too. So Scully.
Yeah, we did. We got a lot of interviews.
Gail Bean. So y'all check that playlist.
We've been busy.
Yeah, we've been busy.
Yeah.
Yep. So if you guys don't have anything else to add, I think we will call it a night. So thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back same time, same place next week for episode 8. Good night.
Bye-bye.
You think that I'm running in place? Y'all really testing my patience. Right before I blow up the spot, I had to get back to the basics. What if my talent is wasted? And see what I'm lacking the basement. Thought since I rap in the basement, but my come up is legend, is greatness. I don't care now, it's pedal to the metal. I can never quit now, I will never settle. Puppet to the game, I'm pulling strings like Geppetto. We in the same game, but I'm on a different level. I passed it. Gotta keep grinding till I'm laid up in the casket. No fake round, but you feeling too plastic.